Hi, I'm Noah Tebow from VCA Church, and this is an honest discussion on remembering the good. So some of you might know this, some of you might not, but I was a security guard about a year ago, and I worked that job for about 3 years, and I got to experience a lot of different situations, some very bad, but some very good. And there's two particular situations that I still remember to this day, years later. The first one was, I've been there for about a few months at this time, and it was around December, near Christmas, and I get a call on our work phone. And I answer the phone and say my stuff and ask what's going on. And the lady on the other side said, there's nothing wrong, I'm not in any danger or need your help with anything. But she said that a few years ago, she was visiting the property and she had a stroke. And this was a few years before I was working there. And she said that the security guard who was working that night was there in an instant, and he did a fantastic job of helping her and being there with her, and just went above and beyond at his job. And she said that every year on the anniversary of that stroke, around the same time, she would call just to say thank you to the security staff. And I didn't know who this lady was. Like I said, I was still kind of a new employee, but that to me was awesome. I thought, wow, this lady was impacted so much by what the security guard did that she's been calling ever since. And she still called years after that moment. And there was another situation where I was working and there was a lady who lost her husband. She couldn't find her husband, and this person had just been recently diagnosed with Alzheimer's a few weeks ago. And this was the first moment that he was experiencing one of those lapses in his memory. They were at a restaurant and they were just about to leave, and she went to the restroom, and the husband left because he forgot that he was there with his wife. And she was panicked, she didn't know what to do, and so I came to try and help to figure out what I could do. And ultimately, I ended up being with her for about 20-30 minutes, trying to figure out a way for her to get home and working with her on this. And through that period of time, I was just talking to her, trying to calm her down, and eventually we figured out a way for her to get home. She got home, and that was that. I didn't think much of it. For me, this was just another night, another day on the job. And about a month later, I'm walking, doing a patrol, and the same lady comes up and stops me. And at first, I didn't really recognize her, but she knew me the instant she saw me. And she came up and said, hey, I'm that lady a month ago that you helped. My husband had Alzheimer's and he went home. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember who you are. And she went on about how scared she was that night and how she was so happy to get home, and how since that time she's been more careful with him and making sure he's on medication, and she doesn't leave her house without a phone and a wallet because she didn't have either that night, and all these different things that she now does. And she even asked me about my family, because we talked for a while we were waiting for rides and things like that. And I was surprised that a month later she remembered all this stuff, but to me, I had already forgotten about it. And she went on, and eventually she's like, I just want to say thank you for being there and helping me through that, and helping calm down and get me through this tough situation. And then we went our separate ways. And this struck me because to me, this wasn't that big a deal. But to these two ladies, these were very, very tough and emotional times. And after the fact, they were able to look back and remember the good that happened to them. And I don't say this to speak highly of me or anybody else, but my point in this is that these ladies did what oftentimes as Christians we don't do, which is remembering the good things that have happened in our past. Psalm 77, verse 11. I will remember the deeds of the Lord. I will remember your wonders of old. You see, as Christians, I think it's easy to only remember the good that God has done for us on Christmas or on Easter. And we forget all the other times that God has done something good for us. Our salvation, a miracle, even tiny things that God has done for us. And we forget those good. We also forget the good that other people have done in our lives. What other believers have done for us and have helped us with. And it's easy to forget those good things. And when we forget those good things, then we grow distant from God. We grow distant from His miracles. And much like the people, the Israelites, when they left Egypt and they forgot what God had done for them, right? As Christians, let's not be like the Israelites who forgot the good that God has done. It's easy to do it, and we need to stop that, and we need to make sure that we remembering the good. Whatever it might be, maybe you call up somebody from your past who helped you through a difficult time. Maybe it's just taking some time and saying, you know what, God, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for all the good you've done and for everything you've done to get me to where I am today. Whatever it looks like for you, let's make it a point to remember the good that others have done for us, and more importantly, the good that God has done for us, so we don't forget that and we don't lose touch with what matters and lose touch with God and other people. And for more full-length sermons and new content daily, go to vcachurch.com.